The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi everyone, welcome along to the webinar today. I hope you're all doing very well and thank you all for coming. I can see we've just got a few people who are just joining us still, so I'll let those filter through before we get started. While we do that, could you just let me know if you can hear me okay and see my screen? So if you can just drop a line in the chat just to make sure we can get this started without any issues. Perfect. Okay, thank you all. Hi Jim, it's nice to see you here. Hi Mike, hi everyone. Brilliant. Okay, we've got quite a few people in here now, so we can get started. I know some of you may know who I am already, and some of you might not. So if you haven't come across me at all before, I'll show you what I look like on our website. This is me here. As I said, my name is Dan, and I'll be taking you through the webinar today. You might have come across me before in the Facebook group or on support. And if you have, then it's nice to see you here. But if not, it is great to meet you, and hopefully today you can see that I'm here to help with all things Convertri. Okay, so we'll make a start then. We'll give you a quick overview first of what we're going to cover today before we jump into things. So first thing I'm going to do today is show you around the different video players in Convertri. So I'll go through the different players that are available along with their settings. Then I'll show you a live demo of how to set up a background video on your page in an actual practical sense. So not just showing you how to put it on the page and add a video to it. We'll show you it on an actual templated page, and we'll do the same for a sticky video as well. And once we've gone through those two, we've done all the players and all their settings, we'll then go into the more detailed examples of how you can make the most out of our video player using our actions and events system, so you can get some cool effects on your pages, such as having a video lead gate set up, which will allow your prospects to watch a certain part of the video, and then they'll be forced to either sign up or make a purchase before they can watch the rest. We'll get a mouseover video set up as well, which will allow your prospect to hover over a certain element, and that will start the video playing, and when they mouse away from it, it will pause it. And then we'll also show you how to set up like a buy button or a panel where people can buy something or make a sign up to appear at a certain point in the video as well. So we've got a nice amount of people in here now, so we can definitely get started. So we'll jump into our players overview page. This is just a blank page at the moment. We're of course going to use it to show all the different players. So I'm sure many of you are familiar with the editor. If not though, this is the Convertery editor. This is the canvas where you add your elements, and this is the elements tray where you get all those elements from. And the ones we're going to be focusing on today are going to come under this media section here. So if you click on media, you'll get the little drop down where you've got video, which is our Convertery video player. We'll leave that one until last because it does have a few extra settings that we can go through in a bit more detail. We've then got the background video option, the Vimeo element, the Wistia element, and the YouTube element. So we'll start things off then with the background video. So if we drag that onto our page, you can see straight away it's automatically set to snap to the edges of the page. Now this is done because predominantly if you're using a background video, it's going to be either for the whole page or for a section. So when you add it to your page, it will automatically be set to full width. So if we go to our Convertery website, for example, if many of you have visited here before, you might be familiar with this video. If not, this is our main website, convertery.com, and you can see the video playing in the background here is actually built with a background element. So it finishes here, it doesn't have to cover the whole page, and the page continues. But essentially, this is a background element in working action, and you can see it snapped to the edges of the screen like so. However, we have actually got a background element on this main page that isn't snapped to the edge. So if we scroll down a little bit, you can see this sort of animation widget here. You might think that this has been built using some form of GIF animation, but actually it's using a background video element. But all that we've done is we've changed the settings so it's no longer full width. So we've clicked that double-headed arrow, and you can still move it around the page, resize it to any shape you want, and that could then act as, just like this, almost an animation on your page. So we've got this a looping video here which will keep playing, and it's using the background video element. So that's a little bit about that. And here is how you use it. Yeah, Jim, it's a great idea. It's a really good way to get that sort of feature on your page, that functionality, because of course you're not having any of the video player sort of tools getting in the way, so it does look quite like a clean sort of animation feel to it. So it's definitely a good way to make use of the background video element. So you can see here in our video properties, we've got a video source, and this is where you're going to add the URL of your self-hosted MP4 video file. So to use the background video element, you do have to have a self-hosted video somewhere. So for example, Amazon S3 would be a good example of a hosting service. There are of course others available, and it is up to you which one you use. But as long as it's an MP4 file and you can get the hosting link to that, all you need to do is copy it in here, and that will then run the background video into the element. Now, it will autoplay on most browsers depending on their settings. I'd recommend setting it to mute. I mean, in often cases, you won't be having a background video with sound, because obviously it's just going to be more for design purpose on the page. But I would recommend setting it to mute, even if it does have sound, because some browsers won't allow videos to autoplay if it's not set to mute. That is, of course, dependent on your prospect's browser settings, though, so there's no way for you to really control that. Preview image you've got here. It's not really recommended for a background video. We do have the option, but it's probably not best to add one here, because you obviously want the video to be playing at the whole time while your prospect is moving around the page. So that sort of covers the background video element. So we'll get rid of this now, and we'll move on to our 3 third-party service video players. So we've got Vimeo, we've got Wistia, and lastly, we've got YouTube. So these are all pretty similar. They are using, as I say, third-party services, and what they allow you to do because of that is add video links directly from those services into Convertery. So for example, you might have a Vimeo account that you might upload your videos to, but you might also want to display the videos on your Convertery pages as well. So for example, if you had like a sales video that you've uploaded to Vimeo directly that you also want on your sales page, to do that, all you need to do, and this goes for each of these 3 elements, is go to the element properties and just add the URL of the video. So in this case, we've got like our Convertery logo sting on each of these ones. Same for Wistia and YouTube. But you can add your own if you want to. So let me just show you how that works. We'll remove this one, and when we remove it, you can see we get that kind of error state. And then we can grab a YouTube video link and we'll add it in there. So we've got a nice video of a David Bowie concert, a clip from that. I know that is Neil's favourite, so we'll definitely give him a quick shout out for that. And all you do is add the link in there, and then your video is pretty much good to go. And you do, of course, have these 3 settings here again. Of course, you've got autoplay. This goes for Wistia and Vimeo as well. So autoplay, play on a loop, and mute. Again, autoplay, most browsers will only autoplay if the video is set to mute. So if you're going to have autoplay on, I would recommend muting it as well. And then your prospect can, of course, decide if they want to play the sound. And then play on loop does exactly what it says on the tin. That will just repeat the video as soon as it ends. It won't stop and show you, like, for example, on YouTube, I know when the video finishes, it has like suggested videos. If you just want this to keep playing, then you need to turn that on. Now, the only difference between these 3 elements is that the Wistia one doesn't actually allow you to have the playback controls on or off. It's set on in the Wistia app itself, so you need to go into your Wistia account, click Customize in the Video Actions menu, and then you'll have access to those other features. The reason we don't have access to that is just because it's a third-party service. We don't actually have control over all of that, so that's why you'll need to go into Wistia itself. I can see we've got a couple of questions here, so I'll cover those before we move on to the Convertery video element. So Dave's asking, is it better to use the Vimeo link rather than its embed code? It is completely up to you. You can also add like an embed video into our HTML element. So if you add that onto your page, edit HTML, this is where you'd put the video embed code. it's pretty much a personal preference. I think the embed code is probably better if you can code yourself and you want to like customize the look of it, because you can obviously add that custom styling into the code. If you're not looking to do any of that though, you're more than going to get the same, functionality from those elements straight out the box. And Herek's asking, does the background video play on loop by default? It does, so it will automatically play on loop like that, because it's in the background, we want it to continuously be playing. And Greg's asking, is third-party hosting necessary? So doesn't Convertery have hosting for videos, which eliminates the need for Amazon S3? So you're absolutely right, Greg. We do have our own video player, which I'm going to show you at the moment, where you can upload videos direct into Convertery. You do need to be a Pro member for that, though. And you also can't upload videos directly and use them as background videos in the sense of in the background element itself. So if we just open that up again, there's no actually option to upload or select an uploaded video. It has to be hosted. So while we do have the option to host videos on Convertery, that is only compatible with our Convertery video player, which we're going to talk about now. And again, you do need to have a Pro membership for that. Okay, so we'll get into this now. And like I said, I'm not sure if I mentioned it at the start, actually, we will have a Q&A session at the end. So if you've got more general questions about like videos in general or about anything else to do with Convertery, if you could save those at the end so that we can keep the webinar going nice and smoothly. And if there's anything you want to show you again, or anything to do with what I'm specifically showing on screen, of course, feel free to ask and we can cover that as we go. Okay, so we've got our Convertery video player here, and this is where we can get into a bit more customization because we have control over this element. It's our own element. We've built it from the ground up, and therefore we can change a lot more about it. Now, the benefit of the Convertery video player is that you're going to get a lot quicker video loading speed, and the player itself is going to be a lot quicker and smoother for your users. Now, essentially the reason for this, without getting into too much techie details, is because the way that the videos are loaded on the page is that the first section of the video, so the first sort of bits of the video that the user will see straight away, is loaded immediately. And while that is then playing, the rest of the video is loaded in chunks. So this means that the page has to load less on first loading, which will give you that faster loading speed as soon as the page is opened. And it will mean that the video can play nice and quickly, instead of having to wait for the whole video to load through and process and then be able to play. Of course, with the control we have over the player, another thing that makes it beneficial is you can use actions and events, which we'll again show you later on. But that's something that you're not going to be able to do with the other players, purely because we don't have the control over the player to link it into the action and event system within Convertery. So we'll get into the player appearance first before we go to our properties. So I can see Dave's asked about adding more video skins or greater customization. We do have a range of skins at the moment. We haven't got any plans for any more that I know of, but I'm sure that the product team will definitely take any suggestions on board. But we can have a look at the ones we've got at the moment. So you can see the first one, the default one, is set to Glacier. So if we click on the change button, you'll see we have these different skins. So we've got a solar, alert, the Glacier one, the cubic one, solid, and blocks. And you can see the subtle differences in the players. So if we just, for example, select solar, you'll see straight away that changes the look of the player to this sort of cool orange look. You've got the option again to set a thumbnail here. To set the video thumbnail in the player properties, and that can be an image that you've uploaded or can get from your media gallery or from Pixabay, just like uploading images to Convertri. Now we're going to get into the video properties now, because this is probably the most important bit to understand about the video element. So this is where we can talk about either adding our URL. So again, you can add your self-hosted URL if you want to, or you can select a video from your uploaded videos in your Convertery account. Now what I'm going to do quickly is show you where you would go to upload those videos. So we're going to exit out of the page, and we're going to go back to our main campaigns dashboard. So we'll click the campaigns button up here, and you can see we've got this videos option on the left. So we'll click that, and this is where you then upload a video. So if I click this, it's going to open up my select video file. Clicking on that will then allow me to upload a video from my files, and I can give it a name, and I'll then be able to upload it. It will then appear in the list once it's been uploaded, And if you want to get rid of it from your account, you can just delete it using the icon. So we'll go back to our page now and we'll select one from, we'll show you the drop-down selection list even. So to get to that screen again, it's clicking on the video, opening video properties, and then using the blue select your video button. That will then show you all the different videos that you've uploaded into your account. And from there, you can select it. If you want to get rid of it, you just click clear and you'll then have the option to either add a link or select another one. Or if you want to change it, just click the folder and it will open up the modal again. So we can go through some more of the settings now. I can see Larry's asking what is the max file size. Now there is no hard and fast max file size, but if you're uploading a video sort of over the length of about an hour, it's probably going to struggle to upload. It's individual differences though. It depends on sort of the broadband, etc. So there is no like maximum file size, but we'd recommend not having, too long videos. It's mainly designed for more like salesy videos. So you're looking sort of 10 minutes, 20 minutes, etc. So again, the autoplay options will open up additional autoplay settings. These are settings only available to pro users as well. So while you do have the video player, if you're not a pro user, being able to upload videos into your account and using these additional autoplay settings are going to be limited to pro users. So when you turn autoplay on, you can of course then select whether to autoplay on desktop or mobile or both, just using the toggles. So for example, if you've got a video that you only want to be shown on your desktop page, if maybe your mobile users aren't interested in it, you can turn it off to autoplay only on desktop. But if you want it for both, you can just use both the toggles. The additional autoplay settings are going to allow you to always autoplay muted, which probably I would recommend, because then that's going to mean no matter what the browser, it's probably going to autoplay. Restart on unmute is going to allow you to essentially, if someone unmutes the video, it will then restart it. So it will start it again from the start. So if, for example, they've missed it and a certain chunk of the video is played and they decide to unmute it, it will put it back to the beginning. Autoplay once is going to do, it does what it says on the tin, but it is worth explaining this to you because it's quite a useful tool to have. It's something that we've used in our affiliate promotions before. So if we're promoting like an affiliate's product and we've got, for example, a review video, we turn this feature on, and what it means is when a individual prospect comes to the page for the first time, the video will autoplay. If they then exit the page and then come back either an hour later or tomorrow, a week later, whenever it is, the video won't autoplay again. The reason for that is because we like to use it because, of course, the first time someone comes to the page, we want them to watch the video. We don't really want to give them that choice because we want them to see what we're offering them. If they're coming back though, it's quite likely they've watched a bit of the video or maybe all of the video. So we're happy to let them choose whether they want to watch it again. And if not, they're happy to browse around the page. Continue off screen will basically do what it says again on the tin. Video is going to continue playing when the user scrolls past it. So it's a little bit different from sticky videos in that sense, because if I scroll past it, it's not going to follow me down the page, but it will continue playing. So the audio will still be going on in the background. You've then got when the video ends, you can show the final frame or not. You can either play on loop or show final frame. Play on loop will of course restart the video. Show final frame will show the last frame in the video. And show playback controls is going to turn off this little playback control here. And that's quite a good way to prevent your users from being able to skip ahead. If you want them to watch the whole video in full, I'd probably recommend turning that off. Now the Animate play button is quite a useful tool. I'll show you what it does now. It's quite a simple feature. Doesn't change too much about the player, but it does draw attention to the play button. So if you turn that on, you're going to get this nice cool pulsing effect on the main play button, which will essentially mean that your user or your prospect, is attracted to the play button a little bit more. So they're more likely to click it. So if you do want that extra functionality, you can just turn it on with that toggle. Toggle sticky, we're going to show you that in a moment. So I won't turn that on just yet and go through the options. We'll do that in a second, but that will allow the video to get stuck to the top of the page or the bottom when your user starts scrolling. Tap full screen on mobile is essentially going to allow your prospect to just simply tap the video and then it will open it up on full screen. They don't have to click the little button here. They can tap anywhere on the video and it will go full screen. Okay, so we've gone through all the players now. Are there any questions about any of the video players before we move on to the demonstrations? I'll just let these questions come in and then we'll get to them. So Herek's asking, what is the highest video resolution Convertri player support? So 1080p is probably going to be your best bet. I'm not sure there is a high resolution cap. I don't think it would be rejected if it was 1280. Of course, the higher the quality, the higher the resolution, the higher the quality. You might get a little bit slower times there. I wouldn't imagine it'd be too drastic though, purely because the way we do load the videos shouldn't have too much of a negative effect on there. But you'll be safe to use 720 or 1080, which are obviously high quality resolutions without suffering on the speed front. Yeah, so Robert's essentially asking about third-party video hosting. In this case, he's asking about Screencast, but I know that a lot of people use other sites like Vidlio or Vidlytics to host their videos because they can get extra like features on that side of things. And can you use those with Convertri? The answer is yes. You can use the embed option, so just using the HTML element like so, and then adding your code in here, so your embed code. That will work a treat, and you'll be able to get those third-party videos onto your pages. The only downside, of course, is you're going to have pretty limited control over the player. We don't even have any options in terms of autoplay or like playback controls. That's all going to have to be dictated to by the coding. But if you can get the embed code, then certainly go ahead and use that HTML element to add those to your pages. I'm glad you're enjoying the features, Joel. They certainly are cool. Okay, it looks like we're all done on the questions front for this section then, so we're going to move on to the demonstrations. Oh, we've had one more come in from Harek. Can we embed a YouTube live video in Convertri? I don't think you'd be able to do that because of the way that it would tie into the system. I'm not even sure if you can get embed codes for a live video on YouTube. It would be worth a try though, but you'd have to start the live video, get the embed code, come back and add it to your Convertri page and then publish it. So I'm not sure how it would work. It's best left for like videos that are recordings or videos that are like preset rather than live videos. Okay, so we'll go on to the demos now, and we'll start off with the background video demo. So I've got a page set up ready, and what I'm going to show you here is, we've talked through the background video element, but I want to show you in action how maybe you can manipulate one of our templates to get it onto your page, and I think this one's quite a good template to show you that. So it's called the Wonderful template if you want to have a look at it yourself. And what we're going to do now in this demo is we're going to get rid of this cool sort of blurred cityscape image from the background, and we're going to change it for a background video. So what I'm going to do is I've got this overlay panel here, which is containing all my elements. So what I need to do first is I need to use my Windows key and select it to move it out of the way, like so. And that way I'm going to be able to select just that panel. And I'm going to do the same thing for my image. I'm just holding the Windows key, and what that does is it deselects everything contained within it so that I can move it out of the way and then delete it. So I'm just moving it down to the bottom, and when I'm down here, I can just get rid of it, like so. I can then move my overlay panel back. Again, I need to remember to hold the Windows key so that I don't move any of the page below it. Apologies, it's quite fiddly when you're doing that. So we'll move that back. But before we move it all the way, what we want to do is we want to add a background video element, and we want to add it so that it's right to the back. So we're going to send it all the way to the back, like so. we're going to move it upwards so it goes up to the top, and we're going to drag this down to about here. And we can then grab our overlay panel and move it up slightly. Now the reason that we have the overlay panel is so that the video isn't too bright. So it will depend on your video if you actually need to use the overlay or not. If you look at Convertery's website again, this has got an overlay on it because the video is quite bright without it. So we've just put a panel over the top and we've just changed the opacity. We set it to like navy blue or black, and we've changed the opacity to about 35%. So we'll just move this down slightly now so we can select our background video element, and we're going to add our URL. So I'm getting this from my hosting service, just adding that in like so. And then when I'm happy with that, I'm going to move my overlay panel back to the top. I'm going to save it, publish this, like so. And once it's published, we'll be able to go into the live page and see the background video has been added to our page. So if we view our page now, you can see we've got the background video playing and it's looking quite cool. We haven't got any problems with reading the text here because we have that overlay on. So because we're using the same video as the Convertri website, it's important to keep that overlay on. What I'll do quickly is I'll show you it with that overlay sort of half on so you can see the difference. So we'll move the panel up there and we'll republish it. And then we'll be able to see the difference, what the overlay panel makes and why it's important to use that with the background video. So that's published again now. So you can see it's quite bright. It's not causing too much of a problem, but you can see when it goes to that white editor, you can't read the white text at all. So I definitely recommend having an overlay on your images, on your background video, sorry. But of course you can feel free to play around with it. If you just want to try without and publish it, you'll be able to see that there's a problem straight away. So you can then quickly add one. So that is background videos. The next one we're going to show you is the sticky videos. So we're just going to use a Convertri template and we're going to swap out this image here. We're going to move it up a little bit so we can make sure we can scroll with it. So we're going to imagine that instead of this download button, or we'll keep the download button for realism's sake. And we can actually leave that image on the page as well, to be fair. What we can do is move this down like so. And we'll add a video using the Convertri video player above the download. So we're imagining now that this is like our sales video for our lead magnet, which we're promoting. We're going to select our video. Just going to use an example video that I've got in my account. We're then going to turn the sticky toggle on, and you'll see then we've got a few options here which we haven't covered yet. So I'll go through those now. So show close is going to give your prospect a close option, which I would leave off because you don't really want to have them the option if you're making the video sticky. The idea is that it's without a choice. They haven't got a choice. It's coming down the page with them, so it keeps playing and it's in their view. Sticky on desktop or mobile, of course, is what it says on the tin. Positioning top right is going to put it up here. Edge of screen is going to make sure that it goes to the very edge, and the side of page is going to go to where the guidelines have been set up on your page. Then you've got small, medium, large, or full size. So we'll go with medium and we'll publish this now. Sticky video, and we'll be able to see that in action. So that's been published. You can see our video here. We'll start playing it. I'm just going to mute it in case the sound carries on to you guys. And when I play my video and I scroll past it, it's stuck now to the top right of the screen, which is where we set it to. And what I'll do now is I'll show you what that would look like if we set it to, say, the left side, but actually to the so top left, but actually to the page side. So that will be about here on your screen. So we'll republish that now. And while we're showing you some of the tools, the different tools, I'll turn the close on just so you can see what that looks like. So it's republished now. We'll go view page. And if we scroll past, I'm just going to do the same thing, turn the video on. You can see now it's not actually to the edge of the screen, it's on our guideline. And you can see we've got the close option, which if of course you click that, that's going to get rid of the video. If you go back up to the top, start playing it, it's not going to actually carry on with the sticky video because you've closed it, which is why we don't give the option, or we would recommend not giving the option, because you're taking away from the actual fact that you've put the sticky video setting on there if you're giving your prospects the option to do that, because it's quite likely that they'll close it. So I'd recommend leaving that off for sure. Okay, so we're going to get into the actual use case action events demos now. So we're going to start off with a buy button demo, which will basically show how we can get a visible sort of buy panel, sign up panel to appear at a certain point in the video. So to do that, we're going to go into the page I've got set up for that. And we're going to be now using the actions and events system. So you can see here, we've got our page, we've got our video. And we've got down here like a panel which has an email address input option and a get the book now option, which is going to be, you know, getting that lead magnet, so signing up to the list and probably redirecting them to a thank you page. So what we want to achieve here is we want for the video to be playing, and when it gets to a certain time marker and then goes past it, this will appear. So a way that you could use this in a real life scenario is if you are promoting like a lead magnet and you've recorded your video and at 10 seconds you say sign up now to get your lead magnet. At that point you could make this panel here where they have the sign up form appear. So to do that, we are going to go on our video. We're going to go actions and events and click add new action. Before we've done that, actually, we'll make sure that you guys can see the full setup. So I shouldn't jump ahead. What we want to make sure that is this is set to start hidden, which is we've done that here. So the panel itself, and we also want to make sure that start hidden, including contents, is on. What that means is these two are also now starting hidden because the panel itself is doing that. And we want to make sure that we've given it a name. So panel to show in general properties so that we can select it as a target for our actions and events. That's one very important thing to remember when you're setting up any actions and event sequence in Convertri is you always need to name your target elements in the general properties because otherwise there's no way for Convertri to display it in that list. So we'll get started now. We'll go element properties, actions and events, add new action, and we'll go to event type. We're going to go through the different types of event types before we do that, before we actually set this up, just so you guys can see. So you can see here on start, on end, on pause or unpause, they'll all be basically, this is when the action will be triggered. So if the video starts, if the video ends, if the video is paused, or if the video is unpaused. So you can set up sequences so that if any of these things happen, an action occurs on the page. That might be showing a layer, it might be showing a form, it might be showing or scrolling, etc. You can see here these are, or running a script, for example, they're the options for the actions. Video time is going to give you some advanced video player events. So for example, one we're going to be using is if a video passes the time marker, so you can set the time on the video that you want to be passed for the action to trigger. The total play length, this is quite different because what this means is if your prospect watches 5 seconds of your video, skips ahead to another point and watches another 5 seconds, their total play length will be 10 seconds. So if you have it on 10 and they've watched 5 seconds at the start and then 6 seconds a little bit later, that will mean their play length has exceeded 10 seconds, so your action will then be triggered. If the video section is between 2 points and it is fully played, that means you can set a certain period of your video where you want the action to trigger, but only if it's been fully played. So for example, if I go 5 and 10 and my prospect watches from 5 to 8 and then pauses or skips across, it won't actually display the action. However, what this also means is you don't have to have it from the start of the video. So you can see here I've got 5 seconds. So if they watch between 0 and 5 or 0 and 6, this won't affect the action. It's only if they watch the whole thing between 5 and 10. And lastly, we've got videos between 2 time markers. So essentially you can get this to happen similar to the one where it passes a time marker, but it also means if they've skipped, say you had 10 and 15 and they've skipped straight to 14, because it's between those 2 markers, then it will play. So whereas if it passes 10, it will play as well. However, if you actually skip to 16, it won't actually play. So even though it's past the 10, that's the start, it's not between the 2 numbers here. Yeah, so Larry's asking, is this only for uploaded videos or does it work with the Vimeo video player option? So yeah, as I said at the start, this is only for the Convertery video player element. So it doesn't have to be uploaded videos. You can use, like, say, for example, if you've got a video hosted in S3 and you're using our video player, you can still set up actions and events on them. But we don't have the control over the players of Vimeo, Wistia, and YouTube in order to set up these actions and events. And that is one of the main benefits of the Convertery video player. So we're going to go ahead and set this up now. So we're going to use video passes time marker. I'm going to set it to 5 seconds, so it's not too long, but it's long enough time so we can see the effect, but we're not sitting around all day waiting to see the effects as well. We're then going to go to action. We're going to go on show. We're going to go fade in target, and we're going to use our target is going to be the panel to show, and we're going to make sure include contained elements is toggled on. We're going to hit done now, and we're going to publish the page, and what we'll see here is the effect of video playing, and when it gets past a certain point, the panel will appear. So as I said, imagine the video is a sales video, and the person speaking, if it's you, your narrator, whoever you guys are working with, has said, sign up now to get your lead magnet. That is the marker you want to put down in the actions and events sequence. So we'll view the page now. I'm going to mute the video just in case it actually plays for you guys, and we'll play and we'll see the effect. So you can see it's on 1, and you can see we've got our hidden panel, so it's not displaying. When it gets past 5, this is now fading in, so you can now complete the sign up. Your prospect can now sign up in this box here. And of course, that's really good because it means that they're engaging with the video, and they're probably listening to it. And then when they're listening to it, they're then getting the prompt on screen. So it's clearer for them because they're not actually seeing the form anyway. They're only seeing it when you've spoken about it or if it passes a certain time. So Larry's asking further about the question he just asked. So what we mean, Larry, is you can't use a Vimeo URL in the Convertery player because, as I was saying at the start, it has to be, if we delete this, it has to be a .mp4 file. If you go to Vimeo, what the Vimeo or Wistia, whichever one it is, that's not actually an MP4 link. It's a video. It's a Vimeo link. So this is like a URL for the video. What you need in the Convertery player is you need an MP4 file link, which is where I'm talking about self-hosting. It's the MP4 video that's hosted elsewhere, but the link you're giving in this source box, it's not a link that's being like hosted elsewhere. It's the MP4 link. So it's like, I'll show you the link, what it will look like. So if we add it in like so, you can see this. If we go to this here, it's not on another platform. It's not on like Vimeo or Wistia or YouTube. This is just the hosting link. So no, that one that you've got in there, that probably won't work. You can try it. You can try it, but it's going to be we're recommending the other services. It might be that it works because it's an MP4 file, but if that's also the Vimeo video link, it's probably not going to work. But I just recommend a bit of trial and error there. Okay, so we've done one demo now, and I hope that was useful for you. Has anyone got any questions about that demo? Any part of the setup on the action and event sequencing that they want me to run through again before we move on to the video lead gate? I'm not going to be able to try the link on the call, unfortunately, Larry, just purely because, you know, I don't know what's on that video, so I can't put that in just in case. But feel free to, you know, try it when you hop off the call and just see if that works out for you. No problem. Okay, so we're going to go back now into the funnel and get started on the video lead gate. This is probably my favorite actions and event sequence that you can set up on Convertery with the videos, purely because I think this is a really useful way to get your users or your prospects engaged, but also then get them to actually make a conversion on the page. You're not just engaging them by watching the video and then thinking that was cool, but I'm not actually going to do anything about it. If you've got a video that your prospects want to watch and are interested in and are engaged with, setting up a video lead gate is basically making sure you get the conversion, because they are not going to be able to finish watching that video until they've done so. And we're going to show you how to set that up now. So what you're going to do is you're going to set up actions and events again, but there's going to be a few different places that you need to do that in this demo. So it's not just going to be the simple one of your video player. We also need to have a few things set up beforehand as well. The first of that is going to be a form. So in this sense, we're going to just need an autoresponder connected, and going to have that set up so that your user can actually, your prospect can submit that form. What you're also going to need to do is, usually you would have a thank you page set up like I've got here. In any normal circumstance, I'd be recommending you set up your own custom thank you page, because that's where your prospects are sent after they've signed up. However, in this case, you want to turn this toggle on, which means that your prospect will stay on the page so they aren't redirected. Now, the reason for that is because if you're redirecting them somewhere once the form submission's taken place, they're not going to be watching the rest of the video. They're going to be going to another page. So that completely defeats the point of the video lead gate, because if anything, you might just annoy your prospects because they wanted to continue watching. So you're always going to need to turn this on for this to work. You're also going to need your form. I'd recommend having it in a layer because it's just the easiest way to manage this. So you can see here I've got my opt-in layer. It's set to start hidden. If I turn this on, you can see what it looks like here. This is a pre-built one on this template, but of course if you want to build your own one, that's completely fine. And you can even add a bit of text here that says like, to continue watching this video, sign up now. And that way your prospect knows what it is that's actually going on here, and they're not sort of confused at why the video has just stopped and that they're being asked to sign up. Of course, I'm expecting that you guys are probably going to have some sort of reference to that in your video, and I definitely recommend that if you are using video lead gates. Maybe you said at the start, like, you're going to need to watch this full video to get the benefits, or even halfway through. Maybe you're having it just before the time marker, so that they know what's going on. But if not, a bit of text like this will go a long way so that your prospects really know what they're supposed to be doing. So we'll save that and we'll make sure that we've got our layer closed now, and we can get into setting up the actions and events now. So the first one is going to be on this video player. So we'll go to element properties. I'm just going to make sure I've got my video set up. I have. I'm going to make sure it's named as well, which it is. And I'm then going to go to actions and events. I'm going to click add new action again. And this time it's going to be the same setup to start with. So we're going to go video time, video passes time marker, and we'll go for 5 seconds again. And simply the same setup. Action show, either show it or fade in the target. And the target is, this case, going to be our layer. Once we've done that, we've hit done. That is the video set up. And now we need to set up an action and event sequence on our layer itself. So we go to layers. We can click the 3-dot menu on the layers and then use actions and events to begin setting this up. Once we've got this opened, what we're now doing is we're setting like a buffer. So after the time passes, so after 6 seconds, or I think 5 seconds we set it up, we want the layer to show. What we also want is the video to be paused so that it's not playing in the background. So what we're doing here is we're setting up a time so that on time passed after this layer is shown, the layer in question that we've just set up to show after 5 seconds, once it is shown, we're going to give it a 1 second buffer. And the action we're going to do here is we're going to go video player and we're going to go pause video. So that means when the video has reached 5 seconds, the layer will show, and 1 second later the video will pause. So that means your prospect can't continue watching, they can't hear the video. You're obviously going to have your form cover the video, or if you weren't going to do that, I'd definitely recommend doing that. And that will mean they can't see it anyway. But by doing this, you're making sure that video pauses. And what that also allows for is the prospect to resume playing it once they've made that submission. And then the target is, of course, going to be the target video in this case, because that's the video you're pausing. So we'll click done, and we've now set up our actions and events on our layer. But the last thing we need to do is set up our action and events on our submit button, which is located on our layer. So to do that, we want to make sure we've got our layer opened. We're going to click the submit button, go to element properties and actions and events. We're then going to select the event type, which in this case is going to be a click, and it's going to be on form submit click. So you can see we've got the message to stay on page, because otherwise the page will redirect. And what this means is once the form is submitted, the action will be triggered, and the action in this case is going to be to hide the layer. And that target is then the layer opt-in. So once the form has been submitted, the layer again will disappear, and they'll be free to play the video again. Now, there is one extra step you can add here, and we'll show you it without it first, and then we'll show you it with it, but I'm going to explain what it is to you now. You can add another action and event sequence so that when the layer is, or when the form is submitted, and the layer then disappears, the video automatically starts playing. Now, at the moment, we haven't got that set up, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to publish the page, and I'm going to show you what it looks like currently, and after that, I'll show you how to set up that sequence so that the video will replay automatically. So we'll publish it, we'll go video lead gate, and once that's published, we'll be able to see it in action. Okay, so the page is published now. I'm going to view the page, and I'm now going to play the video. I'll turn this down just in case it does come through, and you'll see when we get over 5 seconds, we're going to have our video lead gate. So I just want to make sure you can see the time. So you can see our form has now appeared. So to continue watching this awesome video, sign up now. I'm going to enter my details, click submit. The form's going to be sent, they're added to the list, and you can see that now the sign up form has disappeared because the prospects entered their information, and they can now continue watching the video. It's a pretty awesome functionality to have on your page, if you ask me, because you're pretty much guaranteeing that lead. If you can get their video to be engaging enough that they want to keep watching it, they will give you their email, or they will do the call to action that it is that you've got set up here. So it might be buying something, you could have it set up in that way, but it's going to be really useful for you to have this feature. Now, I'll show you now back on the in the editor what I mean by that extra step. So we're going to need to go back to our layer so that we can go back to our submit button. And we're going to go on, not the layers, sorry, we're going to go submit, element properties, and actions and events. And we're then going to add the new action. So event type, again, it's going to be click, on form submit click. The action in this case is going to be a video player, and it's going to be start video, and our target is going to be the video. And what that's doing is when this form has been submitted, when the lead gate has been unlocked, you've then got the video playing automatically. So we'll publish it again, and we'll then show you it in action. Yeah, I can see a few people have asked now about will there be replays, will there be demos to go through this again. Yeah, I know that we may be going through this quickly, but I am conscious of getting everything in and getting a little bit of a Q&A session. There will definitely be a replay for this. We'll probably get it up early next week, Monday or Tuesday, so keep an eye out for that, and it'll go up in the knowledge base, and I'll give you a link to that at the end if you aren't familiar with it. Okay, so this is published now with the updates, and we can now view the page. We're just going to do exactly the same thing. We're going to play the video, wait for it to go past the time marker that we've set. Our form's going to appear. We're going to submit it, so the prospect's submitting that. And now when we send that off, the video is playing again automatically. So you can see the two different ways you can have it set up there. My preference would be for the video to play automatically, just because it's friendlier on your users, because then they're obviously not having to do anything. They're just going to get the video played again. They might be like, oh, I need to click this. So I'd recommend that, but it's up to you. Okay, so that is a video lead gate, and I can see a lot of people in the chat are saying how cool that feature is. Larry, Jim, excellent. So I'm glad that you've enjoyed that. It's definitely my favorite actions and event sequence you can set up with videos, that's for sure. But we do have one more to go through, and this one is pretty cool as well. It's not going to give you the same sort of impact on your conversions like the video lead gate does, where you're pretty much guaranteeing a conversion if they're interested in the video. But it is going to look quite cool, and it's a really cool design to have on your site. So if you're building out sites that you care a lot about, like how it looks and the user functionality, I definitely recommend considering this because it is really cool. Now, you're going to see on the page here, what we've got is we've got an overlay, and we've got an overlay so that it looks a little bit darker, like we said with the background videos. And we've got almost a background video here, but we're not actually using the background video element. We're instead using the Convertery video player element. And that is purely because we need it to be using the Convertery video element so that we can set up the actions and event sequence. So all we've done to get that effect is we've got our video element here and we've made it full width. So you can see if I don't do that, it's your normal element, but we want it to be full width so that it acts like a background video. We've then got our overlay, and this is going to be important because this is going to be the element that we're setting up the actions and events on. So what we're going to set up here is that when someone rolls over their mouse into the element, the video starts playing, and as soon as they exit the element, it stops. Now, we're going to set this up on the panel itself. So we're making sure we've got our panel selected, which we do. We're going to go into actions and events again. And this time we're just going to set up a pretty simple sequence. So event type in this case is going to be mouse movement. We're going to go on mouse entering the element. The action is then going to be the video player. It's going to be start video, and our target. You can see we've come unstuck in a demonstration. This is probably quite useful to actually happen. It's because we haven't named our element. So you can see I've got ahead of myself there. I haven't named my video element, but that is why it's so important to remember to name your target element. So as much as that wasn't actually meant to happen, I am quite glad that happened because you guys can see how important it is for you to do that. So we'll come out of this, cancel this. We'll go to our video, and I'm not sure actually, we do have a video set up, which is good, but I definitely haven't got a name on there. So we'll just call that video like so. And that's why you need to name them. Otherwise, you simply can't set up the actions and event sequence. So we'll go back into this now and we'll be able to set that up. So event type, mouse movement, on mouse entering. The action is going to be video player, start video, and the target is now going to be selected from the list, which is our video. So we'll hit done. And all we're doing now is we're setting up the exact same thing, but using the leaving the element. And instead of playing the video, we want it to pause. And again, the target is going to be the video. So now we've got this set up, we can publish it. And we're going to see that on our live page. And I think you guys are going to really like this one because if you're a creative person or you like cool features on websites or nice designs, I think you'll definitely appreciate this because it's a really subtle thing, but it's so cool to be able to do this on a website and be able to build it like this without having to code anything. You're not having to write this into the website's code. You're just setting up actions and events. You don't need to be a tech wizard like I've just shown you. You can walk through it yourself. So we'll view the page now and we're going to scroll down, and as soon as we roll into this, you can see the video will start playing, and as soon as we roll out, it's going to stop again like so. So you can see the functionality is really cool, and your users, I think, will just appreciate that. Your prospects will just appreciate that. Now, it's not a necessity. Like I said, it's not like the video lead gate where it's going to be probably boosting your conversions, but I think it's something that is worth having if you're comfortable setting it up. So they are the 3 demos with our actions and events sequence that I wanted to show you guys on this webinar, and that has brought us now to the end of the webinar. We will cover your questions. We'll do a little Q&A session. But I hope you enjoyed those demos, and I hope that you guys are going to try and get those into your pages in the future, and I'll definitely be interested to see those. If you do use those in your pages, please feel free to drop them in the Facebook group as an example for others, or just to show off what you've learned from the webinar. It's always great to see people really taking stuff away from these webinars and using it on their pages and hopefully improving their pages and their businesses. So I can see there's a few questions that I haven't answered in the chat here. which we'll get to those. We'll get to those now. I'm just going to take a quick swig of water while you guys ask some more questions, and we'll let those build up, and then we'll cover those before we head off. Okay, so I'm going to start going through the questions now. Feel free to keep asking if you do have any outstanding questions. I'm sure we've got time to cover them. Okay, so I'm just scrolling back. Please just excuse me a moment while I get the last question that was asked. So Chuck's asking, what is the video limit for hosting on Convertery with a pro account? So to answer that, Chuck, you get 20 videos that you can have in your account at once. So if you want to delete some to make space, that's fine, but you can have 20 in there at any one time. And there's 100 gigabytes per month of video hosting bandwidth. So essentially that will refresh each month. But it's quite a lot of space. I can't see, I've never come across anyone that's gone above that before. So there is plenty of space there. As long as you're not wanting to go over 20 videos, you should have enough space to get all the videos in Convertery that you need. Where can we find these demos? Robert's asking. Yes, so I can see people asking about the replays. Like I said, there'll be one up early next week. What I'll go and do is I'll grab the link to the knowledge base in the chat. So if you aren't familiar with this, help.convertery.com is our knowledge base. You'll find everything you need to know about Convertery here, and it will go in the training webinars category. So I will drop this in the chat now. So you should be able to access that, and this is where it will appear. I'll probably post a link in the Facebook group as well, if any of you guys are in there, and I will grab that now. If you want to join the Facebook group, it's definitely a place where I'd recommend hanging out. Learning about Convertery in here is definitely guaranteed. And if you have any questions, you can feel free to ask. You can see Neil's posting about new features. We've got people asking questions, feature requests. Neil's replying. We've got, loads of people in here that are willing to help out learning about Convertery. Larry, I'm glad you've enjoyed. He's asking if there's a plan to do a session on auto webinars. We haven't got anything in the books, but I'll definitely make a note of that and consider it for a future webinar. So keep your eyes peeled for that. I'm glad so many of you are enjoying this, by the way. I can see all your comments, and it's really great to see. Yes, Jim, I can see Jim's interview here. Convertery Ageless Super User is at the top of the list. So Jim Rigney is in the chat, guys. He's what we call a super user, power user, and he's got his own training in the knowledge base as well. So I definitely recommend checking that out as well. Nuno's asking, do you have to pay for this? If you've got a Convertery Pro account, you won't have to pay for any of the features that we've just spoke about there, no. Yeah, Herrick, we do have a in-house integration with Zoom. If you go down to webinars, you can see here you've got a Zoom option, and you'll be able to get people to sign up for Zoom links and host Zoom webinars on your Convertery pages. And Larry's asking, are we integrated with Stripe natively? We are indeed, to take payment processors, also with PayPal, and you can try setting up that video lead gate with a product as well. You'd need to have a product on the page, and you then need to have the form button. Instead of it being set to sign up, you need to have it set to open your modal checkout or to purchase. I'm glad you've enjoyed the Convertery crash course, Robert. It certainly is a brilliant resource for new users to get to grips with the basics. Thank you, Jim. I appreciate that. I'm glad that so many of you have enjoyed the webinar. Are there any other questions before we sign off today? We are just at the hour. We can go a little bit over if there's anything else anyone wants to cover, though. Yeah, so Herek's asking why I clicked view page rather than the preview button in the editor. So I'll just go back and show you the difference there. The preview button can be used to preview any changes you've made and saved in the editor, whereas the publish button and then the view page is going to show you the live version at the moment. So let's say I delete this logo here. I haven't republished the page. If I click view page, that logo is still going to appear. If I save this in the editor and click preview, in the same window, this page will open up now. So it's basically showing you what the live page would look like if you published it, but it's not quite showing you the actual live version. So look, you can see this is without it. But if we go back to the live page and refresh, even after we've deleted the element and saved it, it's still here. So publishing affects the live page. Preview is just showing you what you've got in the editor, but without the tools and without the menus. The reason I viewed the page is just because that's what I want to see, the most up-to-date version. I want to make sure it's working on the live page. Okay, so it looks like we are out of questions. I hope that you've all enjoyed. I know I can see many of you saying thank you, so I just want to say everyone is very welcome. I really enjoy doing these. It's a great way to connect with Convertery users, and I love how appreciative you guys are and how much you get out of it. So thank you all for coming along. Like I said, please be sure to check out the knowledge base, help.convertery.com. We'll show you everything you need to know about Convertery. Feel free to email us, support@convertery.com. I will drop that in the chat quickly now before I sign off. And we have pretty much 24/7 support coverage. It's a little bit less on the weekends, but we have someone manning the desk even then, so you won't be waiting around too long for a reply. And of course, joining the Facebook group, I would really recommend as well, because there's just so many users in there of different levels and members of staff as well, where you can really interact with people and learn about Convertery. Okay, so that is going to be all from me today, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed, and I hope to see you all in another webinar very soon. Thanks for coming and have a great day.